Hello, it's Jen, inner work. Let's do some inner work, let's do some therapy talk. This is about how you can let go of judgment, like judging people all the time, how you can let go of that and end up freeing all the clutter, all the negatives that this judgment, this compulsive judgment thing is doing to you, right? What does it do to me? Like, for example, what can it do? For example, it can close a lot of doors. That is what judgment can do. And also, it can also save you a lot of time, because then you end up, instead of like when you judge someone, right? You walk around the street and then you see someone, I don't know, flirting. Let's say you see a guy just flirting in the streets, right? And then you can go up, you can tap your friend, and then you just start judging like, wow, what a creep, why is he even doing that, whatever, right? So, and then you kept on talking about that guy, where you basically just see him talk to another female. You see that he's probably flirting, right? And then you just judge him to be a creep, right? You just judge him to be a weirdo. It's a weird thing to do, right? But you don't understand. You don't know who this guy is. You know, you don't. It's like, why do you even label him? You know, why do you label him as a creep? What does it do to you? Why are you irritated? Why you use so much time to down talk to this guy? You know, so you can save a lot of energy. You can get more wiser, enhance your awareness around, you know, what is going on. I don't even know this guy, right? And just release. You can just end up the purpose is just to release a lot of energy, and be enhancing your mind to the level of awareness where you just let this guy go. He doesn't really fill inside your mind, you know, and you educate yourself and you get to know about yourself, because when you judge someone, you are basically judging yourself. There's something within you that you can actually release and be better, you know. So that is the purpose, you know. It's like, be more free and be better. Learn something about yourself. That is a crazy nice part, you know, about this amazing approach toward judgment. You know, like, be in a state where you just don't judge, you know, and instead you just like investigate, you digesting into, okay, what is actually happening. You know, you're open to all the possibilities out there, you know, and you end up just being happy, you know, at the end. Even at situations where it felt like somebody was just fucking you over, you know, like, even, let's say that somebody's just trying to fuck you over, whatever, right? Like, you just forgive that person in many occurrences, right? Like, you can take this anti-judgment or judgment-free attitude to the next level, where it can be a blessing. And there's so many examples, right? For example, there was one example was that I had this acquaintance, right? Like, at that time we were really good friends, and then he went into we were like going out, right? And then I was about like, okay, say goodbye to him, and then I don't know why I don't go inside, because I wanted something inside the shop he also went into, right? But then he's going in, and then I don't know why I didn't go in, you know. I didn't have time. I had to meet another friend. That's why I didn't go in, I guess. Or I had a date. I don't know why. So I basically just tell him, like, hey bro, you're going in. Maybe you can get me a bottle of water. And then he looks at me, and then he's like, I don't think so. And then I'm like, what? And then I start judging him. Immediately I just start judging him, you know. The emotions were like agitation, irritation, and I put him in the box, because he was Danish. I put him in the box, like, it's just typical people from, you know, people born and raised, like people who's ethnically Danish, you know. It's like, oh, they're so, you know, it's like, but then I started to, like, later on, I started to let go and forgive him. But at that time, I was just like roasting him and in front, you know, talking behind his back, and it was very irritating. The following days, you know, like, why so weird? Why do I have him as a friend? Like, you know, because in my head I was just judging him to be a weirdo, you know, like a weird and maybe just a weird person, you know. But that was the only way I saw it. I didn't see all the other opportunities, right? Maybe he felt he was irritated at me. Maybe I did something that he didn't like, and that's why he didn't want to buy the water bottle. Maybe I did something in the past, and then he just kept it. And then me telling him like, hey, buy that water bottle. Can you buy that water bottle for me? That triggered something. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe his dad was like a man of authority in a very cruel and brutal way. Or maybe he had a boss who was like the same, and then when I said, hey please brother, can you go in and buy this water bottle? Maybe that ignited that. You never know, I never know. But if I had that, maybe he was so triggered. So he also told me that he had like heavy trauma, like he had one crazy experience he didn't even want to tell me about, So maybe me telling him like being dominant or whatever, right? Hey, can you please go and buy that bottle? Maybe, like I'm giving him an order, and he really didn't like that. His nervous system just froze because he was waiting even to say, no, I'm not gonna go in there and buy. So it's like, so you reach that level where you're just like, okay, it's fine, it's fine, but it's a little bit like, I would do that for you, like let's talk, because I need to know where I have you, like what is wrong. It's not normal, because my friends, if I told them my friends, they will buy, but what's up, like can I count on you? Because imagine that my card is cancelled and I cannot use my card. Will you also then refuse? Because then I don't want to associate with that kind of energy. That's not I don't want to have that kind of friend around me, so it's like coming from a place where you just one, that is the core of what I teach, like this oneness, operating from this oneness, that you are that person, right? So anyway, let's go into a practical example, around the 6 steps. There's basically 6 steps in this anti-judgment philosophy, this method. The one I just told is like more on the surface level, where you just like, okay, you forgive, you're like accepting this person, okay? But this one is like even more powerful, this anti-judgment letter. It's like steps where you basically just change the way you just see people completely. You just let go, Because again, the purpose is that you let go of any kind of things you have against people, just completely let go. And there's a chance where you can go inward and figure out, okay, what is it that made me judge this person? Where is that judgment within me? So you can even like release and be a much better person and stay much more in awareness, in oneness, right? So let's dive into it. So there was the example here. I could take this one, that there's another one which is much more interesting, And it's like I'm in this establishment, and it's next to this nightclub bar place, right? So I go in there to this nightclub bar place, and I found out that most women are there, they're just interested in the money, They're just interested in you paying for everything, and it's not the best vibe, So I kind of like, I didn't want to go there anymore. It's just, I felt like it's a waste of my time. I'm a morning person anyway, right? So one day I'm just sitting near the establishment. That's where I'm working, doing my work. And then I walk, and I walk and I see 3-4 women there, right? And they're next to this bar nightclub, but they look stunning, But then immediately I'm thinking back, okay. I'm thinking back on that experience I had. I was like, these women, they're probably going to that bar. And the women that I met in that bar were just so much into, they didn't really care about me, For example, there was one experience where I sat down, and then the woman was just looking, we just small talked a little bit. And then the woman was like, hey, can you pay for everything? Can you pay for all this and this and this? And I'm like, you don't even know my name, and what kind of attitude is that? I was just thinking, no, I'm good. I'm not gonna pay. You're gonna pay that. I'm just gonna move to another table. It's all right. So these women that I saw that day, not the day where I went in, where women asked me for pay for anything, but the next day, I just started to judge the shit out of them. I was just thinking like, I'm not even gonna approach. They're just gonna ask me for money, and they're probably like intoxicated as well. They're like, let me just go away. Let me just go home. I don't want this, like. And then my friend, my guru, the legend Magnus Lighted, or Magnus, Magnus Lighted, that is the English version. Then he actually called me, and he was studying this judgment, how to be more free, how to be more in one, and just let everybody just be the way they are, you know, like there's no labeling, there's nothing, right? Then he was calling me and like, Jin, can I run this test on you? So now it comes, this is the goal, right? So basically he asked me, the first one is basically like, find a moment where you found yourself judging someone. In my case, I'm like, okay, those women, you know, those 3 women there, I judged them. That's level number 1, that's date number 1. I judged them, and then what is it? What is it that you judged them on? Like, how did I judge them? You're like, what was it that I judged these women on? And then I told my friend here, you know, like I judged them on that if I talk to them, they would probably just want my money and they're intoxicated. That would be it. That would be a red flag, you know. And I judged them because I don't know, because he's like, but you don't know that, right? I was like, nah, but and then he was like, okay, you don't know it, but you still went ahead. Like, yeah, because I had these experiences. I'm like, they're probably like that, you know. I was like, okay, fair enough, you know, but you agree that, and then he asked me like, but you can't agree that there's also a possibility that that's normal. They don't want to ask you about money and stuff, right? I was like, yeah, but I was like, I know. Then he's like, okay, cool. How do you feel now? I was like, yeah, but I'm still pretty sure, you know, like, you know, I did the right thing. You know, I just walked away. Then he's like, okay, cool. So you're judging them. That's fine. He's like, it's fine. You're judging them right now still, and you keep your judgment there. It's like, yeah. And then he's like, okay, so you're judging them for being intoxicated. You're judging them for, you know, just asking about your money, right? And yeah, and then I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, how now this is key. So how is this judgment attached or executed or present or have been present in your own life? Haven't you also asked people about money? Haven't you also been intoxicated? And I'm like, okay, I was just frozen there. I was like, what? Yeah, that's interesting, you know, you asked me that. Like, yeah, of course. Like, I've been in situations where I actually were like, yeah, that I was more interested in the monetary values, you know, with someone. Like, I was back in the days again, some years back, you know, I was like, instead of being upfront, because I was so afraid to be more upfront, because I was afraid to be rejected. So I was just like very soft and, you know, towards it was towards in a business setting, you know. I was just more. I was just still asking about, you know, money, business, without really, you know, without knowing these people, right? Without being upfront. And then I was like, yeah, okay, I've done it's a different kind of plan, right? But I have done it, but people could have perceived me to only be up for the money, right? It has happened before. You know, other people perceive me for only being up for the money, that I'm only interested in money, you know. So that's the perception of how other people have perceived you, but also like you can understand you have done it too in a different kind of way. So I was like, yeah, okay, I kind of understand it now actually, right? I kind of understand. I have had some few experiences that can relate a little bit to these women. And then the other question, where the obvious one is like, haven't you also been intoxicated? Like, yeah, of course I have. You know, of course I have. I have been intoxicated, okay. And then, you know, those were like, first step is like, when was the last time you judged anyone? What is it that you judged them in? Judge them about. Third one is like, how has that judgment been present or being executed in your own life? When have you judged someone yourself? You know, or you've been in a situation where other people could have thought that you judged them, that you're judging them, right? It's like, and then before is basically like, okay, you go in a rain check, right? You go, okay, how do you feel now? You know, how do you feel now? Can you let go? I'm like, and then yeah, then you just go into yourself and figure out, how is it that I'm actually feeling right now? I'm like, wow, I feel actually relieved, I feel relieved. Wow. I feel like I can go and approach. So that's the step number 4. Step number 5 is like, what is it that you would have done right now? What would you have done differently? So in this case, I'll be like ready. There'll be nothing, there's nothing really holding me back. I'll just go up to them and talk to them and have a good time, without judging them. Then if I then later on found out, okay, they're also after the money, I'll just let go. I'll be like, hey, I understand you, I understand why you are feeling that way. I have compassion for it, I've done the same, just in another kind of way, right? But you have your reasons, right? So going back to that the people, like for example these women, they might have their reasons, right? For example, I also made another one, so odd example. It's not like I'm collecting, only have experience with females that only ask for money, right? I've met some beautiful, amazing female beings, for example here in Denmark, and where we had a great time and there were no monetary conflicts involved, right? But I met another one, for example, that was in South Africa, where, it's not really about, you could judge her from the beginning. Like today's gen would probably because you're also judging just to protect yourself, right? But then you can still let go, right? That's what my client actually said the other day. Judgment comes also from a form of protection, right? It can be that. So today's gen would probably not be irritated, not be agitated, not talk behind her back, or just let go, because he would have understood that, okay, you're after the money. Because I met this woman in South Africa and she was just, we were going out and she was ordering a lot of things, and she was living in her Instagram basically. She didn't even look up or anything like that, just filming, and then at the end I'm like, hey, we need to, let's just stop. If you're inside the Instagram, let's just stop this date, I'm gonna pay for everything, but let's just stop it, this is not gonna fly, man. Let's stop. And then she's like, no, why? It's like, no, I can't, I cannot afford, being like this, let's just stop, right? And I was not judging her the whole time, and then I could have judged her, right? But then she was like, at least give me some money, I can go home and say, and that then is no longer judgment. It's not longer judgment that, when somebody's like that. Like, imagine that I've judged her like, oh, she's just somebody who's just out for my money, imagine that I had that belief, and then later on she would actually tell me that she's only there for the money. Then it's no longer judgment anymore. It's just like, whoa, okay, she's just out for the money, She's just trying to exploit weak men to basically get their money, right? But again, because I've had that awareness and I had a healthy set of mind and a quite sharp intuitive mind, and I could stand up for myself, and hey, you're living through that Instagram, what was this? We're out together, right? Let's talk, Then I avoided this other situation. I didn't even judge her, But now thinking back, I'm like, I understand, I have compassion. Maybe she was struggling, and this was her way to get money, right? The same with the woman in this bar nightclub area, maybe they were struggling, maybe that's why. Or the guy initially in this video, maybe, again, I think I already told that, maybe he felt I was superior, maybe he didn't he felt like, oh, he hated his boss, he don't like authority and stuff like that, right? So it's like, you open up so many possibilities, so many reasons why people act the way they act. And then it's much easier just to let go and forgive. It's much, much, much easier. So yeah, so that's today's video, so next time when you go out, just live your life anywhere, in any kind of situation, just be aware of when you're judging people, be aware of when you're judging some people, and then go inward, go inward and figure out, okay, where is this present within me right now, or where has it been present within me right now, right? And then go in, feel it, and then tap into it, and then release, and then rain check with yourself one more time. Like, okay, how do I feel now? What action would you then take? What is your approach now? Okay, good luck.